Coming up on The Tonight Show, Bob Hope, Luther Vandross, and Tim Reed join Johnny in half an hour.
From Alabama's News Center, this is the WSFA TV News 10 o'clock report.
Here in Alabama and all across the country, flags were flying at half-staff today in memory of the 248 soldiers killed in that airline crash in Gander, Newfoundland. Canadian officials say a preliminary analysis of the flight and cockpit recorders failed to turn up any explanations. The investigation also is focusing on weather conditions at the time of the crash. Officials say the DC-8 was not de-iced before taking off in freezing rain and snow, and the pilot did not ask for the work to be done. So far, 200 bodies have been recovered from the wreckage. Canadian doctors plan to begin autopsies once all the bodies are recovered in an effort to find clues about the cause of the crash. At least 4 Alabama natives are among the people killed in the crash. The Pentagon identified the Alabama serviceman killed as 27-year-old Staff Sergeant Vincent Turner of Huntsville. 27-year-old Staff Sergeant Frank Hughes of North Carrollton, 27-year-old Staff Sergeant Vincent Turner of Huntsville, Specialist 4 Jimmy Davis of Aliceville, and First Lieutenant J. Scott McCormick, a native of Vestavia Hills. Meanwhile, in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, merchants expressed their sympathy to mourners by posting signs near the military base. Cars poured into Fort Campbell today, carrying relatives of disaster victims and officials at work on the case. Sympathy signs greeted them on the road, and flags were at half-staff. In nearby Hopkinsville, Tracy Walker had awaited the arrival of her fiancé, Jeffrey Scott Kay, who was aboard the ill-fated plane. He'd had her engagement ring with him, and the two were soon to be married.
He's over there fighting, and he makes it through it. So 6 months, and then he's on his way home. And I know they had to be excited, and then this happens right before they get home. That's what's the hardest thing to accept.
Tonight, the Pentagon announced that future peacekeeping troops brought home from the Sinai will travel in military transport planes rather than commercial charters. Defense officials say the move is being made for the peace of mind of soldiers and their families in the wake of yesterday's crash. A federal court jury today acquitted 3 former Corrections Department officers of inmate abuse charges. The same jury declared a mistrial on charges remaining against 4 other officers. Norman Lumpkin has details.
The federal jury cleared guard Eddie Roanoke of inmate abuse just before lunch. After further deliberation, Warden Jim Cook and prison coordinator Frank Griswold were found not guilty of perjury and abuse charges.
My reaction is it's fantastic. I'm just glad it's over.
After further study of evidence, the panel told Judge Robert Varner they were deadlocked over the 4 other defendants' cases. Judge Varner then declared a mistrial. Attorneys for the 4 were optimistic that the government was finished with the case.
From here, I predict there'll be no other trials. The evidence is not there, never will be there. There will not be any convictions.
Yes, and after the long investigation by the government, I'm sure that they will see that they just don't have a case.
Federal prosecutors had no comment about the outcome of the case, so it is not known whether or not the 4 officials will be retried. Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News at Federal Court.
Auburn University reached an agreement today with 4 fraternities that had their houses torn down to make way for a hotel conference center. The university has agreed to pay the fraternities cash for the value of their old houses and will also provide them with a new on-campus building location and reduced interest loans for rebuilding. The cash settlements ranged from $333,000 to $478,000. Tonight, for the first time in a week, Skip Hemp is not waiting outside Department of Pensions and Security headquarters. Hemp's vigil ended today when, like the operator of other Alabama foster care facilities, he received more than 2 months in overdue federal payments. Kim Davis has more.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. It's called creative bookkeeping.
We've got something.
Mr. Corey, I sure appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know you've been wanting to do this for a few days.
Well, I hate we met under these circumstances.
P.L. Corley passed out 3 checks worth more than $99,000.
Is there someone here from Boyd School?
Right here.
Okay, I can also help you, sir.
Yeah, I hope so.
And how about Tri-Will?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I can help you.
Thank you, sir.
The money takes care of bills due since October and November. Whether Hemp's vigil prompted an early holiday payoff isn't known. But for certain, his persistence paid off.
There has been a lot of creative work by lots of people.
I am absolutely pleased from the standpoint that we got reimbursed for October and November.
I'm going to go home.
But they will definitely not be able to operate.
Other factors, including a meeting among 10 residential care directors earlier today, may have accelerated today's payoff.
We've got to pay a bill. Right now, our financial reserve is not going to allow us to pay that bill.
That there's a probability that unless payment is forthcoming fairly soon, there are 4 or 5 programs serving the children of the state of Alabama who have special needs who won't be in existence the 1st of January.
Other checks are slated to be released next week so that all residential and foster care homes in Alabama should receive overdue payments before Christmas. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News.
Last month, new regulations went into effect for farmers who are behind on their loan payments to the Farmers Home Administration. FMHA State Director Dale Ritchie says there may be some confusion about this program, so today officials tried to get things straightened out. Carrie Gordon has the story.
The so-called Coleman regulation is a result of several lawsuits nationwide, where farmers claimed the Farmers Home Administration's deferral program was inadequate. A court ruling directed the federal government to come up with specific regulations. Now, as a result, come December 31st, 1985, every farmer who owes FMHA $100 or more will receive a notice listing 7 ways the debt can be handled. Farmers Home Administration officials say there's no way to know just how many farmers will owe money on that day.
The report that we're going to operate from is December 31st, 1985. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this is not December 31st. I don't even have that report in hand.
Because of the lawsuits, Farmers Home has not foreclosed on anyone in the past 18 months. Under the new regulation, such adverse action will start again.
And it would be immoral and unethical for me to sit here and tell you that everybody in Alabama is going to be helped under these regulations.
Ritchie says this regulation will make it clear exactly what choices a delinquent farmer has. But it also indicates a tightening of the credit money flow from Washington. Carrie Gordon, WSFA TV News.
A special dress rehearsal for the 5th annual Nativity Night, sponsored by the Montgomery Parks and Recreation Department, Dixie Zoological Society, and Frazier Memorial United Methodist Church, was held at Paterson Field earlier tonight. The program is a family event which portrays the first Christmas. Chuck Cliff, director of the Montgomery City Zoo, said the idea originated in upstate New York, and he expects around 5,000 people to attend Monday night's event, which begins at 7 o'clock at Paterson Field. Looks like a lot of fun. I hope they have good weather for that.
It's going to be good and cold, but not as cold as it's going to be this weekend. We'll have details when we come back. Ready or not, here it comes. An Arctic weekend in Alabama. I hope you are prepared for it. Take a look at the jet stream. It is nosediving tonight, right down into the heart of Dixie, and you know what that means, that Arctic surge moving right down into Mississippi, Alabama, all the way down even into central Florida. It's going to be cold. It's going to be real cold in Alabama tonight. Take a look at the expected lows overnight. Probably 15 degrees will be the mercury bottoming out in Huntsville, 20 in Birmingham, 30 to 35 degrees, maybe get below the freezing mark in the Montgomery area, 28 in the Mobile area, and it's going to be a bone chiller tomorrow as well. Highs tomorrow, keep in mind I said highs will be around 42 in Montgomery, 30 in Huntsville. The warmest reading in the state, not a very warm, 50 degrees in Dothan. This doesn't even consider the wind chills. When we add those wind chills in, it's going to feel more like about 3 degrees up in Huntsville, 25 in the Montgomery area tomorrow, and across most of central Alabama. It's even going to feel like 27 down in the Mobile area, so nowhere you can go in the southeast to get away from the cold this weekend. And with the onslaught of winter, we need to take a few precautions, a few reminders for you. Be sure and check on your elderly friends. Give them a call. Make sure they have plenty of heat in the house. Protect your houseplants. Bring them inside. Wrap any exposed pipes you might have. Don't forget about the dog and cat and the livestock, and check the antifreeze levels in your cars, and also keep that antifreeze away from your pets. They love to drink that stuff. It is fatal. The high pressure that's bringing us all this cold weather that makes us have to prepare so much for it is the same high pressure that's pushing the clouds out of Alabama. Here are those cold, high cloud tops that moved ahead of that frontal system. Now they're causing showers and rain down in central Florida. Still some low cloudiness over Alabama. That will be history by tomorrow, because here's a look at tomorrow's map, and it shows a big Arctic high settling in right over Tennessee. That's the center of that high. As the center moves closer to the Alabama, the winds will die down a bit. That'll push all of the clouds out of the state, so it is going to be nothing but cold sunshine at your house tomorrow. Temperatures across Alabama tonight are on their way down and nippy. 32 already in Birmingham, 36 in Montgomery and in Troy, and it's also 36 in the Auburn area. Color radar now shows no rain in the state due to that high pressure. This morning's low in the capital city was 50. The high this afternoon only 56 degrees. 79% our humidity at this hour. Over an inch of rainfall in the past 24 hours at Danley Field. Take a look now at your lake level. Sunrise 6:38, sun setting at 4:42 tomorrow. And the forecast calls for cloudy and much colder weather tonight. A wind chill of 3 degrees, an actual low of 30 to 35. And then sunny and cold tomorrow with a wind chill of 25. Bundle up if you're going to be outside. The actual high 42 tomorrow. Tomorrow night, clear and very cold. The winds will die down as that high pressure moves in closer to Alabama, and the low will be about 20 to 25 degrees. So it'll actually seem colder tonight with the wind than it will be tomorrow night, but tomorrow night will in actuality even be colder. Sunny and warmer on Sunday, a high of 50. And then Monday through Wednesday, clear and still, continued cold, lows in the 20s, highs in the 50s. It makes my teeth chatter just thinking about it.
What about ice and snow? Are they saying anything about that?
Well, it's going to be so dry here with that high pressure moving in that we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, well, that's one good thing at least. And what about sports tonight, Mark?
Talking a little bit more about the upcoming Blue-Gray College Football Classic. The blue roster was released today. Some big names coming to Montgomery. We'll pass that along for you next. Well, we now know one half of the participants for this year's 48th annual Blue-Gray All-Star Football Classic. The roster for the North squad, the Blue squad, was officially released today. Perhaps the top name on that Blue squad, well, most definitely the top name on that Blue squad is Notre Dame running back Alan Pinkett. Pinkett is one of the most prolific runners in Notre Dame history, and what a history Notre Dame has had, so that's saying quite a bit. This past season, he became the first running back in Fighting Irish history to rush for more than 1,000 yards in a single season. He had 1,100 yards rushing and scored 11 touchdowns to boot. Alan Pinkett will be coming to Montgomery Christmas Day for that Blue-Gray Classic. A few of the other more notable players on that blue roster, running back Reuben Mays of Washington State, who set the NCAA single-game rushing mark with a 357-yard performance against Oregon last year. He will be here. Also, running backs Tony Lewis of Nevada, Las Vegas, and all-purpose back Rodney Carter of Purdue. Some excellent backs for this year's Blue-Gray. Quarterbacks Mike Norseth of Kansas. The pro scouts are really high on this one, and Steve Bradley of Indiana. Wide receiver John Taylor of Delaware State, considered a Jerry Rice-type receiver, so look for that. On defense, a couple of players of note on that blue squad. Notre Dame's Eric Dorsey, considered one of the premier defensive linemen in the country, will be coming to Montgomery. And linebacker Willie Pless of Kansas, an all-Big 8 performer and a native of Anniston, Alabama, will be returning here to the state of Alabama for that Blue-Gray Classic. By the way, the roster for the Gray squad will be released tomorrow afternoon. Expect quite a few more big names. We've been given some advance notice on that Gray roster, and there are some excellent names. So Jim Jackson will have more on that for you tomorrow night. Again, those will be released tomorrow at noon. As expected, today assistant coach Bob Valicenti was elevated to head coach of the University of Kansas football program. The announcement comes just one day after Mike Gottfried quit that Kansas post to take over the top spot at the University of Pittsburgh. The 45-year-old Valicenti had served as an assistant and quarterback coach under Gottfried there at Kansas. A busy Friday night for high school basketball in the area tonight. Among the action, an intra-city battle. City rivals Lee and Lanier squared off out at the Lanier Gym. Action from that ball game, the visiting Lee Generals in red. Reginald Dawkins hitting from the corner for the Generals there. Then a second later, coming off of the fast break, Lee's number 14, Finison's going to put in 2 for Lee tonight. Nice move there for the bucket. Lanier, however, was led by Anthony Senderson. He's going to hit for the Poets here with a nice jumper from the top of the key. And coming up, a cross-court pass to Ernest Murray. He nets the 2-pointer from way outside there. Lanier defeating Lee tonight in a runaway. The final there, 81-65. Lanier a big winner. And in other prep hoop action here in the city tonight, the Pirates of St. Jude paid a visit to Carver High School to tangle with the Wolverines tonight. For the Carver Wolverines, number 54 in white, Marcus Townsend's going to put it up and in for 2 points. Townsend was again called up a few minutes later after two teammates tried unsuccessfully. His tip-in down low is going to get it home for Carver. St. Jude's Fred Williams is going to try from the outside here in just a second. It won't go, and Carver gets the board, and they're off and running. Fast break, Anthony Brown's going to get it in for the easy bucket for Carver. Carver a winner, but in double overtime tonight. A great ball game out at Carver. They defeat St. Jude, the final in double overtime, 62-55. Another overtime affair. It was St. James by 4 over Trinity, 58-54. Montgomery County defeating Alabama Christian by 4, 52-48. Some other scores being reported into us tonight. Holtville downing Laverne 73-47. It was D.C. Wolf, a big winner over Youth Center, 98-46. Auburn, a winner by 4 points over Opelika. The score there, 50-46. In college basketball action tonight, the 16th ranked Blazers of UAB traveled out to Hawaii